After drought in the Horn of Africa diminished livestock, wiped out some families' entire wealth and left pastoral communities vulnerable, a U.S. charity helps Maasai herders recover from deadly drought effects.
Commissioning the nearly 26-kilometer Amansea-Awba-Ofemmili road project, officials in Anambra State in southeast Nigeria predict improved transportation of food crops and increased farming activities.
Hope for a fragrant future as the people producing Lang Lang oil in the Comoros Islands ask for a larger share of the profits.
Hello, and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from the Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Well, thanks. I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
Anambra State Governor Professor Soludo has commissioned the 25.58-kilometer Amansea-Awba-Ofemmili road, which, according to him, is part of plans for sustainable development in the state. The communities linked with the roads are the agrarian strongholds of the state, and it's expected that transportation of food crops and farming activities will improve significantly going forward.
Awka North local government, one of the agrarian food basins of Anambra State, comes alive as Governor Soludo commissions the 26-kilometer network of roads from Amansea to Awba-Ofemmili 16 months after flagging off the project. At the commissioning ceremony at Amansea, the first port of call, encomiums are poured on the governor for keeping his promise.
2022 September 17, you flagged off construction of 26-kilometer road connecting Amansea, Ebenebe, Ubene, Uben, and Awba-Ofemmili. On that same day, Mr. Governor, you promised us that this road is going to be completed in a very short time. Today, we are here celebrating, thanking you for what you have done for us, Mr. Governor.
His reaction is that for things to work at the grassroots, there must be deliberate action to build a proper foundation for sustainable development.
Today is a happy day. Today, as the Secretary PPSSC said, is promise made, promise kept.
There were various stops along the way to commission projects in Ebenebe, Ugbenu, and Ugbene communities. The final stop is Awba-Ofemmili, where the Commissioner for Homeland Affairs and Indigene appreciates God and the governor for giving them reasons to smile again. And here is the reason why.
This is one of the first projects in the country that is completed within the budget and within the time schedule. This is possible because Mr. Governor honors the certificate every time it is due.
Governor Soludo describes the day as historic, as he notes that Awka North, especially Awba-Ofemmili, was one of the reasons he decided to contest for governor.
We passed through 5 of them today, that you could say since the creation of Adam and Eve, haven't seen tarred road this way. And today, we are here 26 kilometers with the best quality ever could be constructed, and I am able to come to Awba-Ofemmili that used to take 3-4 hours to travel. I am able to make it in less than 20 minutes.
The people of Awka North can now utilize their fertile land in massive agricultural activities, even as the governor gives them assurances that all hostilities and land disputes with their neighbors in Enugu State will be resolved.
I couldn't believe that there was still anywhere like this in Anambra.
And joining us to discuss the commissioning of road projects in Anambra State is the Commissioner for Local Government and Community Development, Tony Collins Nwambuwanne. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you and good morning.
Yes, congratulations to the administration too for the second-year anniversary. So, what were the motivations behind initiating this, particular network of roads in Anambra State, joining several communities?
Okay, thank you very much. On assumption of office of Mr. Governor Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, March 17th, 2022, the people of Anambra asked for something. And the first thing they asked for is roads. The second thing they asked for is roads. And the third thing they asked for again is good network of roads. So this is one major area that the people of Anambra State yearn for and asked Mr. Governor to give them good roads. So that was what actually drew the attention of Mr. Governor in providing good roads for the people of Anambra State, cutting across the 179 communities.
Can you elaborate on the anticipated impacts of the newly commissioned road project on the agricultural communities, especially of Amansea-Awba-Ofemmili, particularly in terms of transportation of food crops and farming activities?
During the 2010 election, he ran then, and through traversing from one community to the other, one local government to the other. There are local governments he visited, and the question he keeps asking himself is, do places like this still exist in Nigeria? Places where you cannot even access the local government. And that local government happens to be my local government, Anambra West, Nza. That is the only local government in Nigeria you cannot access by road. Another area he looked at about again is Awka North, Amansea-Awba-Ofemmili Road, the newly 26-kilometer road that was just commissioned, just the one you're talking about. And the other one is Obaru, Okpoko, complete slum. And today, life has returned back to those places.
Were there some key challenges faced during the planning and the execution phases of the road projects, and how were they overcome to achieve, the end result?
Well, I don't see most major challenge there because these communities need these roads. So basically, they cooperated with the contractors. Even during the commissioning, the contractor came out and said, Mr. Governor, I want to thank this community for their cooperation, for their show of love, and for their patience with them. And the contractor said so. So yes, there are these challenges in some communities where you go, where people try to tell you before you use our land, you're going to give us compensation, you're going to do this. But because they know that the man that is mounting the leadership of Anambra State today has a good intention to give them good roads. So most communities are out there to be partaker of this good initiative of Mr. Governor, to benefit from, things that are uncommon, an uncommon development we're seeing today.
Must thank you for your time today. The Commissioner for Local Government and Community Development in Anambra State, Tony Collins Wambuwanne. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, a photographer's campaign to save Ghana's coastline, home to dozens of historic forts, castles, and other UNESCO World Heritage Sites from illegal sand mining. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Ghana's coastline is home to dozens of historic forts, castles, and other UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which are threatened by coastal erosion and frequent tidal waves. Illegal sand mining is making the problem worse. A photographer whose ancestral home has been submerged about 3 kilometers into the ocean is using photo exhibitions to raise awareness about this situation. Senanu Todd reports from Ada, Ghana.
Along the coast of Ada in Ghana, photographer Ofoe Amagavi is taking photos of a ruined settlement. Occupants of this property were forced out after several tidal waves and coastal erosion demolished their homes and threatened their lives. Amagavi says his ancestral home was once about a 15-minute walk away, but has been completely submerged in the Gulf of Guinea. Born and raised in the capital city of Accra, Amegavi moved back in 2019 to connect with his ancestry and heritage, but he says there was nothing to show.
Then coming here, trying to trace some of the stories my dad told me, I now came to realize why most of his stories were coming from the past and not necessarily present continuous, but I was always referring to the past. It was due to the fact that his home wasn't existing anymore, where he was born and raised wasn't existing anymore because of the effects of coastal erosion.
According to UNESCO, Ghana's coastline is eroding at an average rate of about 2 meters per year, with some sites recording up to 17 meters of erosion in a single year. Between 2005 and 2017 alone, the country lost about 37% of its coastal land to erosion and flooding. Coastal residents say the erosion rate has increased even further in the last 2 years. John Kusimi is a senior lecturer at the Department of Geography and Resource Management at the University of Ghana. He says rising sea levels and climate change are increasing the frequency of tidal waves along the Ghanaian coast. Kusimi says the situation is made worse by increased sand mining, mostly for construction needs.
We have a lot of human activities such as sand mining, dredging, and also the harvesting of vegetative cover, mangroves in particular, along the coastline. These activities tend to reduce the resilience of the beach or the coastline to erosion.
Sand mining along the beaches of Ghana is illegal and punishable by law. But Kusimi says the country's boom in tourism and real estate along waterfronts has created a new market for the practice.
Because of the presence of security within the major cities, they go a little bit far off away the peri-urban localities and mine and bring the sand into the cities to develop. So you see a lot of hotels, estate developers, and then resource centers that are developing along the beaches and the coastline, and most of them often mine beach material illegally to use in their building and construction.
Through a recent photo exhibition titled Between Sand and Water and an upcoming exhibit in northern Ghana, Amegavi hopes to draw more attention to the ailing state of coastal communities and its effect on coastal biodiversity. Sana Anutod for VOA News, Ada, Ghana.
The National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, has called for enhanced community-driven reintegration and reconciliation process for persons formerly associated with non-state armed groups in the Northeast. Mr. Ribadu made the call at the launch of the second phase of the European Union support for disengagement, review, reintegration and reconciliation of persons formerly associated with non-state armed groups in the Northeast at an event in Abuja.
Officials from the European Union and the Office of the National Security Advisor are in this hall for the launch of the disengagement, review, reintegration and reconciliation of persons formerly associated with non-state armed groups in the northeast Nigeria. The National Security Advisor is implementing the project through the National Counter-Terrorism Center with the aim of promoting the non-kinetic approach to the fight against insurgency.
For us at the office of the NSA, we will continue to provide the needed coordination as enshrined in the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022, policy framework and national action plan for preventing and countering violence, extremism, and other relevant policy documents.
The European Union is a partner in the implementation of the project, and the EU head of delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS is pledging more support to end insurgency.
The SD3R program will support the continuous efforts of the federal government and of the state governments of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe to bring a lasting peace in the northeast of the country.
Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State is the chairman of the Northeast Governors Forum, and he is hoping that the project will tackle the root causes of insurgency in the region.
One of the solutions that we adopted is what we call the Borno model. We felt we must establish ownership of the activities that are ongoing in the state, which is very critical. We felt there is a need for us to strengthen our monitoring and evaluation mechanisms at the state level. Above all, we understood that kinetic measures alone will never solve our own problems.
The National Security Advisor, accompanied by officials of the European Union, then launched the project.
It's time for a short break as we remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. And still to come, South Africa's biggest annual street parade features entertainment, cultural enrichment, as well as community spirit in the mother city.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. A deadly record drought in the Horn of Africa diminished livestock, imperiling the livelihoods of pastoralists like the Maasai in Kenya, who rely on livestock for food and income. Now, a U.S. charity called Water is Life Kenya is helping herders by giving them seed capital in the form of livestock and cash. Juma Majanga reports from Nkongu, Narok village in Kenya.
On the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, overlooking the Amboseli National Park in Kenya's southern border with Tanzania, residents of Ngong Narok village sing in celebration. Thank you, God, our provider, they sing in traditional Maasai prayer song. The Maasai, like other pastoral communities, depend on livestock as their main source of food and livelihood. They are still reeling from the Horn of Africa's worst drought in 4 decades and its toll on their animals.
It was a 3-year drought, swept a lot of livestock. So almost everyone is very, very desperate in their life because of they cannot get enough food, they cannot take their children to school.
Today, they sing joyous songs to celebrate the arrival of donations. Water is Life Kenya, a US and Kenyan-based charity, is helping vulnerable families in the pastoral communities affected by drought by giving them new cows, goats and sheep, as well as cash so they can rebuild their lives. The grant program, now in its 2nd year, also provides herders with skills so that they can better cope with the frequent droughts brought on by climate change.
We know that people here, happiness is really built on livestock and it's a good asset to have, and also goats give birth. And so you're building your assets. And so we said, okay, the grant will help them have everyday money, money so that they can feed their families, and the goats will be like a savings.
Narisain Toki, a 26-year-old widow and mother of 4, is one of the over 30 widows who are each receiving 3 goats and $200 cash grant on this day. Her family lost all their nearly 100 cattle to drought, and Ntoki says she is eager to start over.
Today, I am getting some goats that will help me start over and grow them to many more. God will help me multiply them.
Koyaso Sunte, also a widow and mother of 6, received her grant last year. She says she used the money to start a bead-making business.
I save half of the profit I get from selling beads and set it aside to pay school fees. The money I get is not that much, but it is helping me take care of my family.
The record drought killed nearly 10 million livestock across the Horn of Africa, imperiling livelihoods of pastoralists like these Maasais. Water is Life Kenya says while the grant helps only a relative few, it is helping some of those most affected restore some of their lost livelihoods. Juma Majanga, VOA News, Ngong Narok Village, Kenya.
The biggest annual street parade in South Africa returned to the mother city. The carnival took place under the theme Lekker, combining entertainment, cultural enrichment, and community spirit in the city.
Performers take to the streets of Cape Town as the annual carnival kicked off celebrating the city's vibrant cultural heritage and diversity. Excited fans and paratroopers wore extravagant costumes, some resembling jellyfish and even sweets, as well as unique floats, including the iconic 7-foot-tall Zocala doll and a giant ant.
Carnival decided to make us a school of fish that move in unison together, and we've actually incorporated that theme into some of our dance moves as well.
Yeah, because we can float and glide because we're on wheels. So we're perfect for the fish in the ocean.
Chairperson and co-founder of the Cape Town Carnival, Rachel Yafter, said they aim to capture something light-hearted, yet quintessentially South African.
So this year what we understood was that people were in the mood for something light, but something that's also very South African. Our idea was that irrespective of where you come from, whether the diversity is in terms of age or socioeconomic status or race, that we'd be an open house for everybody.
The theme of the event was lekker, an Afrikaans word meaning nice or enjoyable. 43 community groups and over 1,500 performers took part in the 2-hour-long parade, which stretched up to 4 kilometers along the fan walk in Greenpoint.
When enjoying a fine perfume, a person might not be aware that one of its main ingredients comes from the remote Comoros Islands in the Indian Ocean. It is Lang Lang oil, and the people who produce the flower oil are asking for a larger share of the profits, as Ruud Elmendorp reports from the Comoros capital, Moroni.
The Comoros Islands are home to fine fragrances, but the most valuable of these is the rare Ylang Ylang oil, which is used in major perfume brands. Mahmoud Aboud is one of the many perfume distillers in the region. The 64-year-old businessman says Ylang Ylang flower oil used to be a lucrative commodity.
Since COVID, the production has gone very low because of COVID and other major reasons, depending on the international market.
The Comoros' ailing economy is heavily reliant on fisheries and bananas, while its tourist potential remains untapped. People in the Comoros are hoping President Azali Assoumani, who was re-elected this week, will do more to grow the economy. Mariama Ali Abduku is a 47-year-old mother of 5.
We want better education and improvement of the economy. We expect the new president to do this.
To boost their and the country's fortunes, Ylang Ylang distillers suggest a better positioning of their oil on the international market.
When you plant it in the Comoros, it's very special because you get an oil that you cannot get it anywhere in the world. Like you get 5 qualities of the oil, but the super extra and the extra, which is used in high-end perfume, you only get it in the Comoros.
The World Bank says the oil producers pumped $20 million into the Comoros economy. But perfume brands like Chanel and others make a much larger profit from the oil. Mahmoud Aboud is adding more value to his oil by upgrading it into a perfume that is sold in Dubai, thereby making his flowers and distillation worth more.
If you make the perfume and the people will understand that this is a product which is coming from the Comoros, many people will come and buy directly from us instead of buying from the trader somewhere in France.
The Comoros Ylang Ylang oil distillers hope they can use the hidden value of their work to bring a sophisticated touch and a fresh-smelling future to the remote island group. Ruud Elmendorp, VOA News, Moroni, Comoros.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. To remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joke Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.